everyone, and welcome back to Mariana Mas Books. My name is Mariana, and today I am here with the first Poetry Thursday of 2022. On my last Poetry Thursday video of the year, of last year, I talked about how most people always talk about poetry in terms of feelings and in terms of how poetry evokes feelings and how it makes them feel. And I talked about how I had never found poetry that really makes me feel, and for me poetry is much more of an intellectual interest, in the sense of I like poetry that makes me think. I like poetry that is highly conceptual. I like poetry that plays with language or with current topics, or has something to say, or is maybe more social or political or more experimental. That type of poetry is the poetry that I enjoy. I also teased that I had found a poet where I read one of his poems, and that emotional reaction that people talk about, I got that. I got that emotional reaction when I tell you I found a poet that has made me feel in the same way, and that's why I talked about in my previous video, in the same way of when I read fiction. When I read fiction, and that feeling, that Mariana feeling that you know well of, that feeling, I got that feeling while reading his poetry, and I had never had it. I am teasing as if you don't know who I'm talking about, because you already saw it on the title of the video, but the poet I'm talking about is WB Yeats, William Butler Yeats. He's an Irish poet, and the reason I was attracted to his poetry at first is because he has a big a mythological aspect to his poetry. He is very big on traditional Irish folklore and that type of thing, so that's what attracted me to his poetry in the first place. So today I want to share with you the poem Ephemera by WB Yeats, and this poem was written in 1884 and published in 1889. It is a super sad poem, so prepare to get your heart broken. It says, "Your eyes that once were never weary of mine are bowed in sorrow under pendulous lids, because our love is waning." I told you it was a sad poem. And then she, "Although our love is waning, let us stand by the lone border of the lake once more, together in that hour of gentleness, when the poor tired child passion falls asleep. How far away the stars seem, and how far is our first kiss, and ah, how old my heart." Pensive they paced along the faded leaves, while slowly he whose hand held hers replied, "Passion has often worn our wandering hearts." The woods were round them, and the yellow leaves felt like faint meteors in the gloom, and once a rabbit old and lame limped down the path. Autumn was over him, and now they stood on the lone border of the lake once more. Turning, he saw that she had thrust dead leaves, gathered in silence, dewy as her eyes, in bosom and hair. "Ah, do not mourn," he said, "that we are tired, for other loves await us. Hate on, and love through unripening hours. Before us lies eternity. Our souls are love, and a continual farewell." You see what I mean when I say it evokes an emotional response. And I just wanted to end this video to say that when I read the poem, there was this one line of the poem that reminded me of a song I used to love, and listen to all the time, and I haven't listened to in a while. And the line from the poem is when it says, do not mourn that we are tired, for other loves await us. And I find the idea of this idea of our love is waning and our love is ending, but other loves await us in the future. I find the idea so conflicting, because on the one hand it's so sad, but on the other is hopeful, right? Because it's sad that this love is ending, but it's hopeful that there will be more loves in the future. And that idea of the previous love ending and the future loves awaiting us reminded me of the song Featherstone by the Paper Kites, which is a band that I used to listen to a lot and I hadn't listened to in a while. And the song in itself is about farewell, sort of. So there are lines like wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart, or she went out in the hay in the morning grace. Yeah, so it's about a farewell. And in the chorus, it's there's this part where it says, and my love is yours, but your love's not mine, so I will go, but we know I'll see you down the line. And then comes the quote that I was reminded of, and it says, and we'll hate what we've lost, but we'll love what we find. That I used to listen to that song alone a lot, is for that quote alone, because it has this concept of this love that is being lost, but the potential for all of the future loves that are going to come. And I think that contradiction is very beautifully put in how they say, we will hate what we lost, but we will love what we find. And yeah, as I said, I was reminded of that song when I read the line in the poem that says, do not mourn that we are tired, because other loves await us. So this was my entry for today's Poetry Thursday. I hope you enjoyed it. I have been loving reading Yeats's poems. I am currently reading his collected poems and loving every single one. I will see you around with another bookish video. I think next week I will post my Essay Wednesday for the month. And in the meantime, I wish you happy reading.